Hello, everybody. This is week two. Week two, we're going to talk about taking care of yourself, and then we're also going to talk about stress. We're going to have two classes with stress. This one is going to be pertaining to parents. The other one will be more focused at kids. I always like to, actually, I hope everybody became familiar with YouTube, how these videos were working. I had good response. Nobody had any problems or issues. I think the question more has been about this AAPI form. I've done some reading and some researching on it, and the form seems to me like it's getting information when you're close to finishing up these classes. So probably around week, I'd say 12 and 13, I'll be giving those, we'll be doing those forms and getting that information probably by phone. If we're meeting at the house by then, of course, we can do those in person. But always, everybody's familiar with the text, the email system, no questions, nobody's voiced any concerns or questions. But of course, always, if you do, just let me know, ask away. I'll do what I can to help. This chair's just not comfortable today. You'll become familiar because there's always just a few extra things that I talk about before we get into the lesson. Today, there's two things I was going to talk about. One of them are your cell phones. Last week I did this. I got started, then I started coughing. But, nowadays, everybody's got their phones with them. We have them for emergencies. We have them to keep up with each other, playing games on them, and, all kinds of uses. But although the phones can help us and having easy access to them helps us, they can also hurt. I've noticed one thing, they hurt with families. We have a rule at my house. It's kind of unspoken now. Everybody just does it. When we have family get-togethers and outings and such, our phones are put on the back burner. Our focus is our attention on each other. When your kids come home from school and they want to talk to you about different things that are going on, they want your attention. They don't want you sitting here going, yeah, I know. Yep. Okay. I mean, they know that it makes them feel like you don't care about them if you're not paying attention to them. Be careful about your phone use. Don't be rude, especially with your family. The second thing I want to talk about is actually something that kind of happened to me this week. It's about physically taking care of and knowing your body. A lot of people just don't take the time. I'm after my oldest son all the time on getting well checks every year. Well checks are set up to where they can identify problems that may just be starting out as problems and dealing with those before they become much more difficult to deal with. So if your yearly checkup involves that, they take blood, you don't get to eat, you don't get to drink, and then they take the blood out of you. And then a week later or something like that, they'll go over those results with you. Those blood tests tell you what's going on in your body. So if there's something like, and there goes my phone, maybe the cholesterol is a little bit not right on your blood work. That's given you an opportunity to make changes in your life so that it doesn't become like an avalanche. Building up until there's your blood pressure, your heart is in turmoil, and all kinds of things can happen. And know your body. The reason why I went to the doctor today, it's no big deal, I'm fine, is because my sugar was acting crazy. So instead of letting my imagination go completely insane, I went to the doctor. I knew how I'm feeling and what's going on is totally new to my body. I didn't jump and run. I've been watching this for about the past 3 or 4 days, and where I had enough information, I went to the doctor and we're coming up with a plan of action and et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, going through that, I'm so sorry about that phone. It's driving me crazy. I usually turn it off. I forgot. But when you know how your body always acts, that didn't come out good at all. Um, and then something weird in there starts going around on, then you know that you need to go and let your doctor know what you're feeling. Um, I used to work with a girl, she never got a yearly exam because she was afraid of the results. I just used to look at her and just shake my head. I mean, it's just, don't do something like that. Face things, deal with them. If you don't, then you don't know what kind of problems or troubles you're going to have down the road. We'll talk more later. I'll also have different things that we talk about that I add on as far as diet and exercise and some of those other issues that happen. We'll talk about those later. But mainly today, what we're going to talk about is taking care of yourself and stress. We talked a little bit last week about taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself, how important it is to yourself and for other people. Um, Many of us, we get caught in the everyday taking care of everyone else. We've got our children to take care of. We may have an elderly parent or other family member we got to take care of. If we're in a relationship, you've got that other person to take care of. And it seems like your list of people who need you to care for them can just go on and on and on. At the end of the day, you've forgotten completely about yourself. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're stressed, you can't hardly deal or focus anymore. Um, so I keep, one of the things that we do a few things when we're meeting in class is I go tell everybody they go home with this little homework and it's every single class. It's like, what did you do for yourself this week? And then when we meet the following week, we talk about it. We can't do that right now, but I'm just going to list you some of those things that have come up when we've had the classes. They're like reading a book, taking a drive, a nice bubble bath soak. Some things you can't do now, like getting your nails done or getting a new hairstyle. It doesn't have to be new. You don't have to spend money on it. It's just something that you can do for yourself. My advice is to wait till you're alone, to where all you have to do is focus on you. The kids have gone to bed. Don't try. It's kind of hard to do this when they're up and running around, right? But when your kids go to bed, whether it's at night or for a nap, get a good book, read a book, or read, tongue twisters today. Of course, you don't want to leave a child in the house alone, but if there's somebody else there, go for a walk, go for a drive, do something. It helps you re-energize so you can get ready to face what comes next. And you never know with kids what that's going to be, right? Let's see. So we're taking care of ourselves. Let's see. If we don't take care of ourselves, then bad things happen. We talked about that. Next, we're going to get into stress. When you're dealing with stress, there is two types of stress. There's a good stress. There's a bad stress. Now, everybody's kind of amazed or like has that look when you say good stress, really? Good stress, they're talking about things that are going to help us maybe achieve our goals. It keeps us going. It helps us push ourselves as long as it's not extreme. Say that you've decided that you want to get further your education. Furthering your education is the goal. Getting your homework done, learning your class assignments, all of these things, they can be a little stressful, but it's a good stress because you find yourself excited about getting it done so that you can keep on going. It's a good stress to where I achieved that goal and look what I've accomplished, look what I've done. That's a good stress. It keeps you energized so you can keep pressing on towards a goal that you set for yourself. It could be a different goal. Maybe it's getting the house clean. Um, in order to do this, oh, great, I did that the other day. I think my goal for the day was to get all my windows washed. Um, you know, and I did this, I did that. All of it were towards the goal of when I sat down the other night, it was like, oh man, that felt good just to get it done. And I felt accomplished, like I had done something. Bad stress are the things that make us go crazy. Um, examples of bad stress could be our finances. Um, let's see here. I wrote down a bunch of things and right now I can't even think of it. But they could be finances. It could be your health. Um, it could be things that are going on at work. It could be family. Where did I write down all that stuff? I thought there was some good points on there that I wanted to remember. You can think of, there's all kinds of things that affect us that give us bad stress. Our children, other relatives, like I said, also said like finances. It could be our health. Maybe you're stressed out about weight. All of these things, if we don't do something about them or face them and deal with them, can lead to horrible things. There are, many physical things. They say that, I think here it is, 75 to 90% of illnesses are related to stress. It can, massive headaches, stiff neck and muscles where you're tensed up and, you can get sore muscles and all that kind of things. It can affect your digestive system. It can cause heart problems. It can cause, they even say that stress can contribute to diabetes, maybe not cause it, but make it worse. Emotionally, it can destroy how we focus, how we think about things, how we handle situations. Socially, we're not a person that anybody wants to be around because we're like a big spring that's just waiting to pop. Our conversations are not well. We don't have good conversations with others. We got too much about going on our minds. It just affects every single part of our body. Not getting enough sleep can cause stress. Our diet, eating the right kinds of food, getting exercise, those can affect stress. They can make it worse. A lot of people with a lot of stress, they'll choose alcohol and or drugs to deal with the stress. And it's not a muscle relaxant. Actually, it's worse. Let's see. Our finances, our work, bills, our kids, all those kinds of things can be stressors. We talked about the good stress. We talked about bad stress. And then there's, we're going to look at different ways. I'm going about this, I've got a lot on my mind and I sincerely apologize to everyone for that. I'm not thinking very clearly. And I know after this is over, I'll think of all kinds of things I wanted to say. So just be patient with me and help me get through this class today. I appreciate it. We talked about that. We talked, we're going to talk about different ways to handle stress. With physical stress, you can work with your exercise. There's plenty of things that you can do at home without spending money. A lot of us can't afford to go to the gym. Maybe it's walking, maybe it's running, just as a release to try to get some of that stress out. We talked about your diet, relaxation skills. That's a big one. That's one. My daughter-in-law has taught me a few different things on helping me to relax when I'm feeling a lot of stress. She's got a couple of apps on her phone, meditation apps, just soothing music and types of things that takes your focus off of what can be bothering you at the moment. Um, Having a new outlook and a new attitude towards things. Okay, my goal today was to do this. I set that goal too high. I thought I was going to be able to accomplish too much. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't accomplish everything that you wanted to. You accomplished a few things, so, pat yourself on the back. You work towards that. Don't get stressed because you're not perfect. Nobody is, and we can't do every single thing. I know that I've woke up in the mornings before and I get this list and I put this and this and this and this, and I look at it and it's like, that's insane. There is no way on earth you can do these kinds of things. I don't beat myself up over it. Just doing one thing at a time, trying to get through it. That's just the best way I can do. And mentally, different attitude, a positive outlook. We talked about those things on handling stress. Socially, develop a good support system. Your day is just insane, the stress, you're about over the top, and you might have a good support system means you have somebody that you feel comfortable enough to share that with. Say it's a parent and you call them and you're upset, you're stressed, you're crying, and you just need somebody to talk to you to help calm you down. You don't want a drama person. They can just make it worse. They can add to it. And before you're done, you're even more stressed than you were when you started out. But a good friend, talk to them about what's going on. Maybe it's simply that you need help. And I feel like a hypocrite saying this because I'm the world's worst in asking people for help. But we can't do it all on our own. Everybody needs some help sometimes. And when you don't get help, then your stress goes up. So, as an example, let's say that you've got a 3-year-old. Everybody knows about 3-year-olds, right? Or if you don't, you're getting ready to learn. Or if you did, you remember that in the past. Whew. But you have a 3-year-old and you have a full-time job. So your day has been, you've gotten ready for work, you're getting your child, they threw up all over you, you've cleaned up, you've gone to work, the boss is terrible that day, in a bad mood, you've had too many projects that have been thrown on you, you've gotten fussed at because a project didn't go so well, the day has ended at work, you pick up your kids, they're grouchy and grumpy, they didn't get a nap, or they're hyper, they ate too much sugar that day. One thing right after another, you go home and you just have a meltdown. You just can't function anymore that day. Ask for help. Call. If you are in a relationship, the other person, say, I need some help. I can't do this anymore today. My day is done. I'm finished. I need help getting dinner ready. I need help getting the laundry done. Please help me with the kids doing this and that. It could be my go-to is my mother-in-law. And it would be like, Granny, could you please give me about 30 minutes? Please help me for 30 minutes. And she would take, I think it was just my oldest son at the time, but she would take Chris off my hands for maybe an hour, and I could shower and relax for a minute and get back to myself. It's hard for me to ask for help. I don't know why. I'm super independent, but there are, and I'm learning as I age that that's what your family and your loved ones want to do. They want to be there for you, to help you. And all you have to do is ask. Maybe it's a good neighbor that you're just like this as friends and they're trustworthy, and the kids are all good. Um, the spouse is taking care of them. Can you please just go out to dinner with me? I just need somebody that's in an adult world right now that I can sit down and talk to. That's getting help. That's what your friends and family are for. If they're not, you might want to shop around and get some new ones. Um, but it's okay. Another thing, in a way that helps us with stress and handle stress, is to develop a good social life. Um, you know, Wrap yourself around people that you can have a good social life with. I think you guys understand what all that means. It not really making, but anyway, you know how to do that. You know what I'm talking about. Let's see here. We've gone through that sheet. Want to make sure I've gone through this. Sometimes I lose my train of thoughts and I just have to go that. We've already talked about this one. We've talked about not getting your needs met and then your stress level goes over the top, right? I reinforce that a lot through all of the classes, on doing something for yourself, etc. This is going to require some reading, and it's kind of boring, but I'll help a little bit if I can. But that we talked about a little bit. They're talking about different physical approaches that you can do to help stress. We talked about getting exercise, improving your diet, listening to your body when it's stressed, when your neck hurts, learning relaxation skills, getting plenty of sleep. We went through that one. Mental approaches on helping with stress. We talked about some of those. I'm going to expand on that a little bit. Adopt a new attitude. Don't try to be less rigid. Not so much a perfectionist. I used to have bad problems with that one. I did when I decided to go back to college, but it was a good stress for me, so we're not going to use that one. But I'm an OCD cleaner. Everything's got to be perfect. It drove me crazy. I would be trying to relax, watch TV, and I'd see a dust bunny on the floor. I'd have to get it. It went on and on and on and on and on. I've gotten a whole lot better about that as I've gotten older. It's not a big deal. The dust bunny's going to be there tomorrow. Who cares? Whatever. No big deal. Being less competitive. Now, that can work two ways. Some competition is good stress. Some competition is bad stress. Good competition, competition and good stress. We talked about that, going towards a goal. That's good. What they're talking about is being over competitive. I've got to win this one at all cost. I've got to get that report done at all cost. I've got to get it before she does. Mine's got to be better than his was. Over much, when you just go on and on and on, and the stress will just cause you to explode. You don't want to be you don't want to be so impatient. We're going to talk about that later because you got kids, it's hard to be impatient. This is more impatient with yourself. It's okay. Calm down. I didn't get it done today. I'll get it tomorrow. No biggie. It's all good. The world's not going to come to an end. This isn't going to cause the apocalypse, all right? You didn't get all the laundry put away for the day. Increase your self-worth. We're going to have a class about self-worth. We'll talk about that. So we'll be talking about that much later in a lot more detail. But don't tell yourself that I'm no good and I can't do this and I didn't do it right. And that's going to stress you out. It's going to lead to trying to be a perfectionist. Set realistic expectations. We talked about that. Get help. But when you look at everything that you want to accomplish in a day, don't make it crazy. You know you've got to work. You know you've got to do meals. You know you've got to do that. Those are your priorities. All these other little things are things you want to get done, but it may be too unrealistic to try to do 20 things in one day outside of what you have to get done for the day. You can have more, but it goes on and on and on. Improve your communication skills. This one I had a hard time doing too, and mine happened in a social environment. But basically, what it comes down to is not being able to tell people no. You've got so much on your plate, and people are going to keep asking for more and more and more. You're going to become the person that when anything needs to be done, they're going to go to you. Go as such and such. They never say no. And then your stress level is way over the top. You're trying to do everything. We talked about that, you taking care of everybody else. There's no problem, but maybe your day is completely insane. You've got soccer game to go to. You've got a basketball game with the other one. You've got the meals to do. You've got work to do. Your kids got to get to school. They get home from school. You've got stuff. Then you get a note from the teacher saying, "Can you make a dozen cookies tomorrow?" You can't keep adding. Now, be involved with your school. Help those teachers out as much as you possibly can. Their arms are loaded. Most of the time it's going to be a note that says, next week we're going to be planning for that one. Great. You scheduled it in. You said yes, make a calendar. Somebody else comes to you and says, can you do this? And you say, I'm sorry. I've already promised somebody else I would do something else. Don't add to it. Don't keep add. There's nothing wrong with saying no. I just can't do anymore. With your work life, you've got this responsibility, this one, and this one. And somebody comes to you and they want more. You've reached your top. You're maxed out. You don't have to be hateful or nasty. You just say, right now what's going on in my life is I've got these things. And I really can't help you with that one right now. But these two things should be finished up here soon. So can we talk again about it later? Good way to respond to it. You haven't been mean and hateful. You've let the person know that you do want to help later. You just can't do it right now. Nothing wrong with that. Another one, I had to learn this one by trial and error. Leave work at work. Don't take it home. Don't let other people make you take it home. You are involved in your nightly routine and you get a phone call from somebody. You're loaded down and busy at the moment. Is this something we can talk about tomorrow? I'm really busy with the kids, this and that. Of course, if there's something that needs to be done, take a few minutes and do with that one, but don't make it a routine. Try to make your night routine to where you're spending time with your family, with your children, taking care of yourself. That encompasses a lot right there, So try to leave work at work. The world's not going to come to an end because one little incident came up, something that you can take care of tomorrow. Go in the next day and say, I forgot this one. I'm going to get it done now. No need for it. No need to lay in the bed just worrying about it. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do? Go to work in the middle of the night? So be careful about leaving work at work. Weekends, take your weekends for yourself if you can, if at all possible. Most of the times you're going to find out that it is possible. Every once in a while, a small little work thing might come up, but don't let it be the normal. Don't let it be your normal life. Getting organized helps you with stress. I'm a big organization person. If I want something, I want it to be where I left it. My pens have a place. When I need one, there it is. When my boys were babies, Here was everything I needed for the baby. The diapers, we didn't have wipes, but the diapers, the everything for a baby was right there together. So I wasn't running all over the house trying to find a measuring cup to fix the formula. Then here's the diapers, but where have I put the wipes? And you're going around and around and around and around like this. Try to make yourself kind of like a routine of other things. Say it's with laundry. You have all of your laundry stuff to get there together. No need to go running around searching in every different room for something. It's all together. It becomes an organized routine, I like to call them. Um, your meal times, I start out with a clean kitchen, and you get your things, this and that. I clean as I go, so you don't have a big giant mess to take care of at the end. You're smart people. You're good at coming up with this stuff. Um, also talk to others. There's, lots of mothers and fathers out there, I'm sure. You know, this is overwhelming to me. How did you handle it? Get advice from them. Maybe they organized in a totally different way, and you look at it and it's like, I think that might probably work for me better. First off, you've learned that you can ask people for help. But anyway, on and on and on. In your social approaches to helping with stress, we talked about it. It's important to develop a social network, people you can go to for help, to just vent. Sometimes you want somebody just to let me tell you about blah, 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 getting it out of your system. Feel so much better now. What's your advice on how to handle it? That kind of thing. Develop a social life. Um, you know, you when you have children, if you're not too careful, your children can become 100% your social life. You need an adult life. I don't mean ripping and running to inappropriate places while you're a parent, is not when you go clubbing or hanging out at the bars. I'm talking about some friends that you can go out, hang out with, some adult time. So you're not just, all you're hearing is baby talk, and teenagers want this, teenagers want that. You need some adult time, some healthy adult time with other people. Maybe you have a group of girls or guys or whatever that, let's get together and play some cards tonight, or let's all go to the movies. Try to make that a part of your life. If you're not every day, but be reasonable. This one, when I looked at it, and I've taught it before in 2 other classes, and when I see it, I totally laugh. It says volunteer your time. Okay. If you can, depending on how insane your life is, it's always good to volunteer, even if it's just maybe an hour. I've worked in places where we had volunteers, and it just made them feel really good about themselves to come down to where I was working and maybe answering the phone for an hour. Maybe if you volunteer at the shelter, to walk the animals for maybe an hour. Something like that, to where, I don't know, it says to do it. I really don't get it, but volunteering is good. I'm not just saying that it's not good. It's just, I don't get that one. A sense of humor. I have a good sense of humor. You're not going to see it in these classes very much, but I do. It's a good form of stress relief. Laughter always is. I think Robin Williams said that, and he's one of my all-time favorites. So if he says that, it's true. But find a good comedy, a movie that just makes you laugh, and be around people that make you laugh, and it's like it's unburdening. It just makes you feel so much better. It changes your focus on different things. You're not so focused on the horrible that you got funny going on. It's just a really good source to release energy, to release stress. Relaxation, we talked about that. Meditation apps, different things work for you. When I go to bed at night, I have a relaxation DVD player. I'm an ocean fanatic, and it's like storms over the ocean, and it totally relaxes me. Here goes the phone again. It totally relaxes me, helps me fall asleep. Um, I am so sorry. I can't believe I didn't remember to turn that phone off. Um, but another one that I like, and I'm going to get this thing and turn it off right now. I'm so sorry about that. Uh, but hobbies. Let's see. Get that turned off. There we go. Like I said, I sincerely apologize for that. It takes I can't think. Develop hobbies. Hobbies. My daughter-in-law, when she does have any time, she's an artsy craftsy. Around Christmas, she was into making wreaths, and it when the kids went to bed and Chris was watching some sports on TV, she could channel her stress and her energy into all these little details that she put into these things that she makes. It took her entire focus away. So, maybe you do develop some kind of a hobby. I did 2 or 3 different hobbies when my kids were growing up. It was just me trying to find the time to do them. But sometimes we just have to make the time. Maybe so, that's something you might want to consider if you do have a hobby. That's wonderful. I applaud you for doing that. I think my neighbor has one and it's kind of noisy. I hear him banging all the time, but, different story. About finished. We talked about this AAP form and how we're going to do that later in the class goes on. Let's see what else these were some stress breakers too. Let's see if there's anything in there. Okay, when it talks about taking care of yourself, it says, remember that you're important and you deserve time for yourself. You are important. You're a mom or a dad. You're a son or a daughter. You're so many things and you're so important to so many people. But don't forget that you're important to yourself as well. You deserve time for yourself. It's not selfish at all. The kids have taken a nap and I want to do my nails. That's not being selfish. That's just spending time to take care of yourself so that you're better prepared to take care of other people. Pamper yourself. Goes along the same way. Do things for yourself. Take care of yourself. You're worth it. You've done all these things for everybody else, and it's not selfish to make yourself the focus of your own attention. Just do it. Do it. Whatever. Laugh at yourself when you make mistakes instead of getting all bent out of shape. Well, can't believe I did that silly thing, and then just get up and learn from it and do it again. Breathe. That's where we get into the meditation and the stress reliever. Take time just to inhale and exhale and just calm. I can't do it right, but all those little meditation apps, they're awesome. You might want to check those out. They're wonderful. Eliminate some of the multitasking. Ask other people to help you with some of those tasks. Right now, dinner's got to be done, got to get him ready for soccer practice. She's got to get ready for basketball. Can you help this one do this one? I can do this and you can help that. Get everybody in the house involved. Look for help. You need it. Maybe if you don't live with the child's parent, the other parent, you might ask mother-in-law, it's Monday night, this is ball practice. Can you help me get them ready so I can do this part? Get people to help you. Get enough sleep. Your body needs sleep. It needs a lot of it. It needs rest. You can't function without enough sleep. I know with newborns and, under that 6-month age, it's hard to get a lot of sleep. Nap when they nap. Get re-energized from that one, re-energized through naps. I lost my train of thought there again for a second. Sorry about that. This one says, and it just depends on the person. Maybe you're a good early person. I'm not. It says, get up earlier than everybody to start getting your day in order. My ex-husband did that. He liked to get up early, have his first cup of coffee in peace and quiet before the kids got up, and Everybody was running around getting ready. It was his own time. And that might be you. It's totally not me, but I'm not a morning person at all. Um, Go for a walk. We talked about that one. It helps you with your exercise. It's great, exercise. It helps you with stress. It helps things that you do during the day that can help you some tired, helps you sleep better. Maybe it's with exercise, taking a walk. That made sense in my head. It really didn't come out all that great. Think about it a little bit, it'll make some sense. Um, let things go. Talked about this a few times in here. You didn't get it right, let it go. This didn't get accomplished today. It's nothing that's going to cause the world to come to an end. Let it go. Work on it tomorrow. Work on it next week. It's just not that big of a deal. Deal with it. Don't worry about it. Um, Look at what you've accomplished and what you haven't gotten done. The day that I decided I wanted to wash all my windows, well, I also put in there that I wanted to get the curtains cleaned as well. Well, that didn't happen. Um, and I got all the windows done. I was so proud, and I thought, well, shoot. I really wanted to get the curtains all washed and rehung, but I'm tired and I didn't do it. And it's like, well, you accomplished that one, and that's major. The windows looks great. You'll deal with the window treatments another day. Um, Eat healthy. Eat healthier food. When you are living on tons of carbs, your body's just no energy. Watch what you eat. Pay attention to how you eat. Don't miss your meals. I'm a good one to talk about that one. Um, Stop demanding so much from yourself and from other people. When we demand from others so much and they don't do what we feel they're supposed to do, that gives us stress. You've asked you've asked this person to do this task, that one, this one, that one, and that one. They don't get them all done. You're stressed because all that stuff, they didn't meet your expectations. You set them too high. Drop down a little bit. They're not going to like you anyway. Um, let's see. What have I forgotten to talk about? We talked about all of this. Got all that in there. We talked about these forms and all these things. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything out before we go to the test questions. Let's go over those a little bit. We talked about this. I covered those areas. Okay. We're going to finish up just a few minutes earlier, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the quiz when I get to that one. For your homework this week, I want you to think about a bad stressor in your life. Something that gives you a lot of stress. Is it your finances? Is it work? Is it what is a big one? A big one that you want to start working on. So I want you to name what that stressor is, and then I want you to really take some time to think about this. Don't just jot this on a paper. Think about it and give me, don't write a book, don't write a total essay, but give me at least like a good paragraph that details your plan of action on how you want to start working on that stressor. That's it. Something to think about. Something I want you to do. And it's going to go on when you text me your quiz answers, that's going to go on that homework answer as well. Okay, for quiz. Let's see. Number 1. What happens when we don't care for ourselves? I don't really like that one. Let's see how I did that. Yep, I did it. Covered it pretty much the way I wanted that one to say. What happens when we don't care for ourselves? There was a few things that we talked about in there, but I want you to give me just one thing that happens to ourselves when we don't take care of ourselves. Number 2, how does stress affect a person physically? I want you to tell me 2 things. How does stress affect a person physically, name at least 2 things. There are 2 types of stressors. What are those? Number 3, there are 2 types of stressors. What are those? There's blank stress and there's blank stress. I want you to name me a few relaxation skills that we talked about. Final and number 4, name a few relaxation skills that we talked about. I think I've covered everything. The one thing I do want to close with, and I'll talk about it more later, is that kids also feel stress too. So when you're under a lot of stress, they're going to feel it as well as you do, as much as you do, if not even worse. Everybody have a good week. Remember, Monday is your deadline. On one sheet of paper, do your homework, then write the answers for the quiz, take a picture, text those to me, and also email it to frankfortsunshinecenter@gmail.com. Everybody have a great week. If you have questions, concerns, problems, anything at all, just let me know.